Hello and welcome to Project Management Masterclass Daily Drills in Agile. This was put together by my buddy Roy and I. Here's your very first question. You work for a Fortune 500 firm in Beirut. Over the past years, you have been the lead engineer using predominantly predictive project management approaches. Recently, the CEO announced a reorganization and a new agile approach to planning using lightweight, low tech, high touch philosophies. You have been appointed as the project team lead. What will the result of this reorganization be? I'll give you a minute to think about the answer. 10 seconds. 3, 2, and 1. Thank you very much for choosing an option. Now let's take a look at the options we have and using logic and the process of elimination, we will select the right. Typically, when I get a question on any practice exam or real exam, I tend to look at all of the options as one composite. I try to look for those that may stand out as a result of how long they are or how short they are. And the answer could be anyone. In some cases, you get options that are all uniform, and then you have in between the lines even more. So I'm going to start from the bottom and go up. D, fully defines product features early in the project. Well, here's the keyword in the question: agile. Agile approaches don't fully define features early in the project, so we will disqualify that. Option C, results in a fully defined schedule and budget. Now, schedule, it's relative. We talk a lot about tasks. And when we talk about tasks, we talk about tasks in the permanently predictive world, not necessarily in the agile world. And that is not to say we don't have a schedule in agile. We do, but the word fully defined is a bit heavy handed for agile. In the world of agile, we plan in iterations. We plan at a high level, we plan at a mid level, at a low level, but we don't plan at a low level until we get towards the sprint that we're working. So C, results in a fully defined schedule and budget, is not common in Agile. So we will cross that out. B, focuses on the plan documents rather than the planning process. Well, if you think about the tenets of Agile, it reads individuals and interactions over processes and tools, working software over comprehensive documentation. Both of these are stretching it a bit as far as is concerned, focusing on plan documents rather than the planning process. That is not agile. Either way, in agile, we focus on the interactions, we focus on the individuals, we focus on working product. Left with one option, results in plans that encourage change and that are easily changed. So let's think about it for a second. What do we mean by plans that encourage change? Take a look at your product backlog. The product backlog is never etched in stone. It encourages change all throughout the process, all throughout the sprints. So even if you've got a release plan that says, this is what we're going to do, release by release, iterations in the release, that is subject to change. And when you get down to the product backlog level, not everything in the backlog is going to get every single time on every single project. Some projects you abandon a lot of user stories, even epics, because evolution of time, there's bound to be change. And these tenets are also talked about in the PMP exam content outline. So about change, we need to encourage change if we are working in an agile environment. And that is why this is the correct answer. It reads Agile is a change based approach, adaptive, not prescriptive. I want to to the PMP exam content outline, and I want you to take a look at how many times you see the word change. I want you to journey with me as we take a look at this very important document for your exam, because believe me, your exam is not based on the PMBOK guide, neither is it based on the Agile Practice Guide. Your exam is based on the PMP exam content. So let's go there and let's take a look at what we have. So let's go all the way through at a very high level. This is all about the people domain. And as you begin getting towards the end of the people domain, you begin to see things that are important when it comes to change. Collaborate with stakeholders, build trust. All of this is for one reason, to be able to adapt as necessary. That's why we collaborate, we get the synergies. To pivot, we can. If we need to persevere, we will. These are some of the thoughts you should be having in mind as you're going through this. Now, when we to the process domain, let's take a look. Assess opportunities to deliver value incrementally. What does that do? It enables you to adapt, to change as necessary. Let's go down to the next page. Here you can see plan and manage schedule. One of the things you see there is a telltale sign of agile story points. And then you see modify the schedule as needed based on methodology. So if you're working in an agile environment, that is definitely going to happen. Let's scroll down further and take a look at a few more things. Here in task 10, we have changes. Anticipate and embrace the need for change. You got it. It's there again. Let's go down a little bit further into the next section. Coming to the next section here where we talk about closure and transition. It says, determine the criteria to successfully close out the project or phase. Validate readiness for transition. Conclude activities to close out the project or phase. Here's a surprise for you. All of these can happen at any time in an agile environment if for any reason the project has been found satisfactory and good to be closed, even though you have a ton of items in your product backlog. If quality and value have been achieved to the extent the client is happy about, you do not need to go all the way to the end of the product backlog. So keep that for your exam. One more point. This is very, very important. When we talk about the business environment, look at this. Recommend options for scope or backlog changes. Backlog changes. What causes those changes? The environment, the external business environment, even the internal environment. When we talk about EEFs and OPAs, those also trigger change. Lastly, support organizational change. So we learned from today's question in a nutshell. In a nutshell, we've learned that Agile is a change based approach. It's adaptive and not prescriptive, and don't fall into the trap of choosing shiny objects such as schedule and budget. And those words jump out at you on the exam. However, they're not terms to choose. The best terms to choose are those that align with the method being discussed. If Agile's being discussed, get into that mindset. There are many shiny objects in this question. Some of them, for example, lead engineer, predominantly predictive, that kind of down a rabbit hole partially before you realize the question is talking about agile. And on the exam, I assure you, you're going to get questions that may lead you a little bit towards a rabbit hole, but ultimately you need to come out of that rabbit hole if you're going to get it right. All right. I hope you enjoy this to be useful. All the very best on your exam. Don't forget, if you're taking the PMP exam and you are struggling, you're wondering, my goodness, how am I going to cover this syllabus? There's a six. There's now the seventh edition. There's the Agile Practice Guide. There's all sorts of content out there. What am I going to do? If that's what you're thinking, I want to let you know we have help at Praizion.com, which is the master website. But if you go to Praizion.com, you'll see a plethora of training opportunities. There's one that we have that you can access directly at projectmanagementmasterclass.com, and we have classes all the time. So just go on down either to Praizion.com or projectmanagementmasterclass.com and sign up for our next training opportunity. Thank you very much. Bye for now.